up, everybody? Dead Girl here. Happy Wednesday. I hope you are all having a wonderfully productive week so far. The music that you hear in our intro and outro is done by our good friend Nick Whitfield. Make sure that you check him out. He composes all kinds of amazing tunes. I would also like to give a quick shout out and hello to our Patreon subscribers, Xander and Alexa. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate you contributing to the show. You guys are awesome. We have a very special guest with us this evening, and I'm not really sure what to title him. Special effects guru, makeup master, man behind the effects. I'm gonna bring in Michael Davy. Welcome to the show, sir.
Oh, hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing on this fine Wednesday?
Not too bad.
Good. It's the middle of the week. I'm sure you're waiting for the weekend just like everybody else. Now, for folks at home who may not be familiar with you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself? It can be anything to what your hobbies are, or what is an official title that I can call you? Because I make up my own sometimes here.
Well, I'm a retired makeup artist. I own a theatrical makeup business now. I manufacture cosmetics. I'm also active in scouting. I'm a scout leader, and I'm the incoming president of the DeBerry, Deltona, and Orange City Rotary Club. So I'm pretty busy.
So you're kind of a jack of all trades there. You're all over the place in a variety of things.
Right.
That's pretty awesome. So what inspired you to start doing special effects makeup and to get involved in this industry?
What inspired me? Well, my dad was a Mason, Masonic, order, Freemasons. Okay. And in their ceremonies, which I can't tell you about, but they use makeup in their ceremonies, some of their ceremonies, and they call the guys who do that maskers.
Okay.
So he would take me along and help him do his thing with them. And he taught me basic character makeups, period makeups, crepe hair work, all the basic stuff.
Okay.
And then, and this is back in the early 70s.
Not too long ago.
And he took me to go see a movie called Planet of the Apes.
Oh, nice.
Drive-in. And I was watching that, and I asked Dad, I said, Dad, that's not paint. That's not, how do they do that? That's moving. And he told me, well, it's done with latex and stuff. And and at the time I was trying to decide what I was going to do for a career. And that sounded pretty interesting, but where I grew up, Canton, Ohio, exactly the makeup mecca of the Midwest. So I knew I would need a mentor. And I started looking around, and I saw a movie called, with Dustin Hoffman in it, called Little Big Man.
Okay.
And in that, they had Dustin Hoffman played an incredibly old man, and I waited till the end to see the credits, and the makeup man was Dick Smith.
Oh, wow!
I thought, well, that was pretty impressive. Maybe I'll reach out to him, but I had no idea how to reach him.
Right.
But back then, I kind of knew that there were two locals, union locals. One was in New York and one was in LA. So I kind of flipped a coin and figured, well, let's try New York. Okay. And I called up the New York local, and I go, and I'm 13, something like that now. I go, yes, we're filming a movie, and we need one of your makeup artists. His name is Dick's. And they gave me his name, his phone number, his address, his social security number. They gave me everything.
Wow.
So they, realized, well, I'm going to have to call him now. I'm going to have to talk to him. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? And so I made a list of questions, and I was hoping that maybe I could sneak in these questions before he slams the phone down on me and says, these kids, I fully expected him just to hang up on me. So one Saturday, I sat down and I got up the nerve and called him. And I figured his wife would answer, and I was ready. Oh, is Mr. Smith there? But no, he answered the phone.
Oh, you weren't ready for that, were you?
No, and I said, Mr. Smith. Oh, please call me Dick. And I said, do you have a few minutes to answer some questions? Well, 3 hours later,
wow,
got off the phone. And I was enamored. I was totally walking on heaven there, because I had actually reached out to this man, and he welcomed me with open arms. And ever since then, he had been my mentor. He taught me everything from foam latex all the way up. We even developed one of my products together, Silicolor.
Really?
So yeah, he was quite an influence on me. So that's kind of how I got started. I talked to him, and we'd send photos back and forth, because we didn't have internet back then and no video even.
Right.
So I'd do something, I'd take a picture of it, and I'd write to him and send him off in the mail, and he'd critique it, make circles and arrows on it, and send it back to me. And usually sending me a whole bunch of his paperwork along with it, like formulas and recipes and techniques and all that kind of stuff. And this was before he even had a course. Now he had a course, but then it was one-on-one. It was all one-on-one. And that's how Rick Baker started, Steve Johnson, all the other guys that are out in LA, and it was quite a way to start, because there was no resources back then.
Right.
To get knowledge. I didn't even know how to run foam latex back then. Yeah. There were books, Corson's book, and Lee Bagan came out with a book back then, but there were some magazines, but there was far and few between, very few resources back then. So it was hard getting started back then, especially being self-taught.
Yeah.
So got started.
I'm impressed that they just. First of all, I'm impressed that you just called them and they were like, "Oh yeah, Dick Smith. Here's his number and here's his email and his home address and all these things." Because nowadays that's unheard of. That doesn't happen anymore.
The 70s. It was a different world back then. Everything was different.
It definitely was. I mean, and like you said, there was really no manuals. Where today's kids, I don't think this generation realizes just how good they have it. Because if I want to know how to run, let's pretend I don't know how to run, foam latex or run a mold. If I don't know these things, I can hop on the internet and go to YouTube now, and somebody will show me how to do it. Or I can take an online course, or I can purchase, books that have been written by other effects artists and learn how to do these things. And back in the day, there weren't those things available. So, I mean, for you to take that initiative is huge. And the fact that Dick Smith was kind enough to say, you know what, yeah, let me take you under my wing and let me kind of help guide you in a sense. That's fantastic. That just kind of blows my mind.
A lot of the information then was guarded too.
Yeah.
It wasn't freely available. The top makeup guys would keep their techniques and keep things to themselves, but Dick had this idea of openness and sharing, and he says that's the only way the industry can grow is if we're open with it. So I've kind of taken that step as well. I try and share as much as I can as well in homage of Dick.
I think that's great. I think it helps teach the younger generation as well, and it teaches them the right way, as opposed to folks working with products and things that are unsafe and not realizing that, hey, I'm playing with things that could harm me. It's kind of teaching them the right way to do life casting, or how to do certain appliances, and the fact that there are removers for appliances and all those things. And I love the fact that things are as open as they are now, instead of, like they were back in the day, as you so put it, everything was kind of guarded. Do you think it was just because some of the artists were afraid that they were going to lose out on work as to why they kept those secrets?
Well, it's like a chef. When you've got a recipe, that people like, you kind of keep that under your helmet there, so that that's yours. That's why people want you, because it's part of you. It's your intellectual property, so to speak. So you kind of protect that, and that's one of the things that I have to watch out when I develop a new product, because I'm copied all the time. People copy my Silicolor, my airbrush makeup, my sweat stop, and they say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but it's
not when they're taking money out of your pocket. I'm just gonna put this out there, though, not when it comes to financials, because at that point that's kind of money out of your pocket, so to speak.
Well, everybody's free to make their own anyway.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be exactly like I make it. So I just have to make sure that mine is the best I can possibly make it. And people recognize that. People know that Sweat Stop is the one that actually works. It's the go-to. So, and that's where reputation is important.
Yeah. And Sweat Stop is huge, especially for folks in Florida or that are in the South that have those hot ones. And now for folks who may be watching and that may be just getting into makeup that aren't familiar with Sweat Stop, can you tell us a little bit about that product? What exactly is that, and what does it do?
The Sweat Stop is a topical antiperspirant. Whenever you're wearing appliances or even just straight makeup, sweat is always a problem. So what we've developed is a product that will just turn off the sweat glands. It's an antiperspirant, but it's topical, so you can apply it like an astringent. Before you do a makeup, you clean the skin, you get the oils and grease off the skin. Well, you can do that with Sweat Stop, and it actually helps keep the makeup on longer and better. So you can even take it up into the hair, which I don't have, but you can take it up into the hair if you're doing a bald cap, so that the sweat doesn't run down on your face. You can use it anywhere on your body, not just the face, but and its action improves with repeated use. The more you use it, the better it works. So it's real popular among the silicone appliance people, because silicone doesn't breathe.
It gets hot.
So adding Sweat Stop under a silicone mask or under a silicone appliance actually really helps it stay on a lot better.
That's pretty awesome. And I'm gonna circle back to this in a second, and kind of get a little bit more in depth with it. But you had mentioned you've created your own brand, you've created your own products. What led you to do this?
Well, the products are kind of a natural extension. When I started back in the 70s, and Dick Smith, by sending me his ideas and things, gave me this hunger to experiment, to try and solve makeup problems through better chemistry. And that's what Dick did quite a bit. He would mix and try and fail, and mix and try and fail again until he got just what he needed. And that's kind of what I've been doing. And I notice a need in the industry. Somebody needs something like, for instance, foaming gelatin. Mm-hmm. Then is a wonderful appliance material. The problem with it is it's like silicone, it's heavy on the skin. So when you apply a big gelatin appliance, it drags on your skin, and it makes it hard to talk, and and move and things like that because it's so heavy.
Yeah.
So I tried to make it lighter. So what I developed was a foam gelatin. There were people who were making a foam gelatin before, but it was more like just bubbles in the gelatin. It wasn't really a foam, a proper frothy foam. And I developed a kit where you can make your own gelatin foam. And it's a 2-component thing. You mix it up and heat it in the microwave and mix them together, and it foams up on its own. I have a video on YouTube showing how to do it.
Oh,
but
nice.
What that does, it reduces the weight of a gelatin appliance by about 40%.
Wow, that's quite a bit.
Right, and that's just one example of solving problem. The other was Sweat Stop, solving a problem with sweat. My airbrush foundation. I had one of the first airbrush applied foundations, but it's a fixed foundation. And when I was doing makeup at Universal Studios, we had a problem. We were doing this event called Halloween Horror Nights, brand new event. They never did it before. So our challenge was to have the actors out in the park scaring people, not in the makeup trailer getting touched up with their makeup all the time.
Right.
It's something that was very durable and sweat proof and smudge proof and all that kind of stuff. But they didn't want to pay the actors to come back at the end of the night to have the makeup removed by us. So they wanted to send them home, so it had to be soap and water removable.
Okay.
I took on that challenge and I developed my AGPC plug.
Plug it away. That's what we're here. We're here to plug you away.
And I developed the AGPC as a sweat-proof, smudge-proof, waterproof foundation, but it washes off with soap and water. And this was developed back in the early 90s. And back then, you just didn't use an airbrush for makeup. And now everybody does. But back then, I would approach somebody with my airbrush in my hand and say, okay, you ready? And they go, whoa, what are you going to do that? You know, and it's like, oh, relax. But now we have most of the major theme parks buy AGPC now for Halloween and their characters. And it's gotten to be very popular. They used Universal used it for 20 years.
Wow.
For the Beetlejuice show. So it was on Frankenstein and Wolfie and all those guys too. So it's a very popular product.
And for folks who don't know what AGP stands for, that's airbrush grade prosthetic cosmetic paint, correct?
That's right.
Oh.
Very good. I have a product called Prosthetic Cosmetic. Technically it's a rubber mask grease.
Okay.
A castor oil based foundation to be used over prosthetics. We use castor oil because it doesn't change color from skin to the latex, and it hides the appliance. Okay. And what we do is we've made an airbrushable grade of that. And after we developed that, I developed another alcohol activated product called Duracolor, which is prosthetic cosmetic, but it has my Silicolor product in it, which Dick Smith helped me make, and boy, that's a story in itself. We went to a seminar back in the 90s, 96, I believe it was, at a company called Polytech in Easton, PA. And Dick was there, I was there, and it was back when Dick was first developing his silicone gel appliances.
Oh, okay.
And so he was talking with me, and I showed him my Silicolor. And because he was looking for something that he could externally adjust the color of his appliances when he would carefully color match the appliance to match the actor's skin tone.
Yeah.
And because that's what you have to do with silicone appliances.
Right.
When they would get on set, under the hot lights, they would flush and their skin color would change and the appliance would be apparent. So he needed something that was cosmetic that he could apply on both the skin and the appliance. And Silicolor is an acrylic medium that I developed.
Okay.
He would do is he would mix that with Dr. Martin's dyes and make his own translucent colors that he could apply as washes over the appliance just to adjust the color of it. And then he went with his course, he featured that in his course.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. See, I love hearing stories like yours where you talk about how you were working with it and trying to adjust it and you came together with a fellow artist to kind of solve the issue that he was having. I think it's great to hear, especially, back then and even now. I love hearing artists collaborating and kind of helping each other out with those things. And it sounds like you helped him solve a major issue he was having.
No, he like I said, the appliances kind of grew with the industry.
Yeah.
And by developing and solving these problems as time goes on, the industry kind of grew up around what I was doing. So that's a way of surfing a wave, so to speak. If you're keeping up with what's going on in the industry, then that's going to keep you timely.
Yeah. It's going to keep you relevant, your work relevant, what you can do, what you can create, all of those things. That's awesome. Now, you've got quite a few products that you offer on your website. I don't even know where to begin. You have so many. And I know you've got some good top sellers, one of them being your Color product. And you also have a remover for that. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. We have collodion. It's called Color. It's a colored collodion. And I developed this back in the, it must have been in the 90s. But we make it in different colors, too.
Oh, nice.
About 7 or 8 different colors of it. And we also make a remover. Collodion, I don't know if you're familiar with collodion, but it's a cellulose material that we make scars and cuts and stuff out of. And when it dries, it shrinks and draws the skin into a pucker.
Okay.
And
you can't just rip it off with your fingers, or it doesn't just come off with soap and water then.
Well, there's really no remover for it except what I've developed. You can acetone, alcohol, none of those things will dissolve collodion, but my Color remover will wipe it clean. So you don't have to peel it off. What happened? Collodion's gotten a bad rap. Tom Berenger in the movie Platoon had a collodion scar on his face. And at the end of each day's production, he would just pick at the end of it and just rip it off and say, "Oh, I'm free," and yeah. What happens is doing that tears up the epidermis, the dead layer of skin cells that you have there, and that's actually a protective layer of skin. So by ripping that off, he was and then the next day, for continuity purposes in the movie, they had to put it in the exact same spot.
Oof.
At the end of the day, he's ripping. After a while, he was actually ripping off living skin cells, and he acquired an actual abrasion there. And so collodion has gotten a kind of a bad rap because, people can get hurt from it because they don't use it properly. Right. With collodion, it's actually the removal process. It's more important than the application process. Okay. So that's why I went ahead and decided to package a bottle of remover with the bottle of collodion so that so that people have the remover right there and don't have to worry about getting an abrasion or any of that stuff. So,
and it's nice too because folks don't always think about the removal process. I find everybody's all, how do I get it on? How do I make it look cool? But they don't tend to think much about how do I get it off. So it's nice that you offer it in that combo package where it's like, okay, here's stuff to put it on, here's stuff to take it off so you don't forget. You've got all those wonderful things. And to your point, I can't imagine how painful that must have been to constantly have that put right back on in the same spot on the skin and then to continuously just like peel that off.
yeah.
No, thank you.
And nowadays we have transfers and appliances and those kind of things that would take the place of something like that. But back then that was standard. That was what they did. So.
And I mean, there's a lot of haunters that use it. We saw that when we were with you at Transworld that picked up, collodion, the color and the remover. I have couple people in the chat saying that they love using it for aging their face a little bit more. So I mean, it's definitely there is still a demand for it.
Right. There is. It's popular. It's one of my most popular products all around the world. I mean, I have people in London and Paris and everywhere that buy Color.
I was just going to ask you, do you ship international then? So you should all over the place.
I ship everywhere.
Okay. If they want to
ship everywhere.
If they want to pay for shipping, it's on them.
Right. Hey, I have distributors in London and we have distributors in Paris and Germany and
oh wow.
And all over the place.
That's fantastic. Well, first of all, you've been very successful with it. So, I mean, not that I need to say it, but of course, congratulations, because it's definitely not just Color, but a lot of your products are very, very much in demand, and it solved a lot of problems that makeup artists were having. So, those folks that maybe are used to using products like Sweat Stop that are just learning about it. Oh, this is a thing. This will help an appliance stay on, So thank you for creating something that is extremely useful in the industry. A variety of things, rather.
Well, there's a need. When I see a need for something, like for 20 years, water-melon has been out there, and when I still go to trade shows, people say, "Wow, I never heard of this." Oh, this is. And it's like, well, no, it's been out for about 20 years and that, but it solves a problem. I mean, people have latex allergies and stuff, and it makes a great latex alternative. It's allowed people who otherwise couldn't enjoy doing prosthetics. It allows them to do that, to have fun with it. So,
absolutely. And I mean, my husband and I use it all the time, whether it's in film or doing a zombie walk or just playing with friends, and it's something that he introduced me to, and he's taught me some things with it, and I gotta tell you, it's one of my favorite products to work with. It's easy, it's durable, it's one of the few things that, I mean, you really don't need a remover for, and I know that's not a high selling point, but man, once it's on, and you put a piece on me at Transworld, I wore that thing for 9 hours.
Well,
it did not move.
The thing is, with water-melon, with this one product, I've been able to get rid of the latex, adhesive, foundation, and the remover.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of changed the way that makeup is approached. It really has. It makes these translucent appliances here. These little things here, but they're applied with alcohol. It's amazing. No more glues. No more glues.
Which is nice. I've had some glue mishaps. I've woken up some nights sticky from glues and not getting it all off on myself. And this is something that you don't have to worry about waking up a sticky mess from because you forgot to get the rest of it off.
That's one of the things that people that concern people. I mean, at Transworld, we run into people all the time. Transworld's a big Halloween trade show. It's the big one, in case people don't know. But I've gotten people come up to me and look at the appliances and say, "Oh, those transfers. Oh man, I can't even get those off. I put them on and they're stuck and I can't even get them off." And that's a problem. I mean, because people, when they're done, they want to go home. They want to, back to normal and all that. Where with the transfer, it's quite a process to try and remove those things. Those suckers are like on there forever.
Oh, they are.
And it's a pick and peel. You just pick an edge, peel it up, and you're done.
And it's an easy peasy, I mean, listen, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like I said, we use it a lot in my household, and sometimes when we're done playing, I'll peel it off and I just stick it on my bathroom mirror, and it just stays there until I decide it comes off. Is my gentle reminder of the amazing.
We had people at the trade show come back up to the booth at the end of the weekend and say, "Look at this! I've taken showers with it on and everything, and it's still there. You're not lying." And it's like, yeah, they're durable. They're durable. They're durable enough for what you want to do.
Well, they are, and to your point, the lovely thing about them is they're translucent. So like I can have it on my tattoos and you can see it right through the tattoo. If I'm, a darker complexion, you don't have to sit there and try to color match it because it literally blends right in perfectly with it. And there's a couple people in the chat room chiming in about how much they love working with watermelon and how easy it is and how nice it is to not have to worry about tracking down a remover or tracking down a friend at 3 a.m. to try to take his makeup off that has been put on that, they don't have the remover with. So it's a lovely product. But I have to ask this question is, how did you come up with the name for it?
Well, I have to give that one to my daughter because I first developed this material as it's a bald cap material. We were making bald caps out of it.
Okay.
If you can imagine a bald cap applied with alcohol, it's a wonderful thing. Mm-hmm. So I was sitting around with my best friend Mitch, the creator of Bubba, and we were thinking, what are we going to call this stuff? What are we going to call it? And my daughter, she was like 7 at the time, and she said, "Well, it's for bald caps, right?" And I said, "Well, yeah." And she goes, "Well, it's water-based, right?" And she goes, "Yeah, it's water-melon." So that's pretty much what that's for.
First of all, I love the fact that she came up with it and that she kind of put those things together. She's a smart cookie.
She is.
But I love the fact that you kept it and that you used it and that you weren't just like, that's crazy. It's such a fun thing. And to your point, when you mention the product and people who've not heard of it or worked with it and you tell them about it, they're like, but the minute you show them, you kind of see that change. Like you see the wheels kind of start to turn even more, and the idea of like, oh my God, I can do so much with this product. I can use this. I don't have to worry about taking it off my actors when they leave for the night. If they're haunting, I can do a zombie walk and I can slap it on them, and I don't got to track them down later on to take it off or give them a removal.
It's fast.
And that's the other thing. Folks don't realize just how fast you can put one of those bad boys on and it blends down. There's no big thick edge like there is with latex where you're trying to, you're chasing it forever and trying to make sure that it's nice and smooth. And would you be willing to give us a demonstration of it?
Well, sure, I can do that.
Wonderful.
I'm gonna read on camera here, but I'll put something on the back of my hand.
Okay.
I've got, instead of glue, we use alcohol. This is watermelon activator. It's basically ethyl alcohol.
Okay.
What I'll do is I'll spray it on the back of my hand, just like I would adhesive. Take the appliance, just press it into place, and just hold it for a count of maybe 20 seconds. Just time to let the alcohol do its thing.
Are you counting?
What?
I said, are you counting?
No. Okay, there we go. Now, what we'll do is take space age applicator.
Oh, I've never heard of those before.
Right. Hey, they use them on the shuttle. And then all we do is go over the appliance And as you take the alcohol over top of it, you can see it takes on your own skin color.
It blends right in. It literally disappears. It truly, see, when I said it turns translucent, you guys, I wasn't blowing smoke. As you can see there, it completely goes in. So it doesn't matter your skin tone, whether, you know, it's red and angry, or you're a tan, or, you know, darker color, as well as that blends right in there. Nice.
Oh, and anything you don't want just blends away, just melts right off.
Yeah.
There we go. Now this is applied.
Bam, look at that.
Now we'll just dry it off here. This one is called Vlad Decia. Do not say blah blah.
Can we talk about your product names? Because your names are some of my favorites that I've seen, and some of them are like such the lovely little puns. They make my heart so happy.
Well, the names get ripped off too. I've had some other competitors take my names because like Shanked, they got shanked
yeah.
But see, now it's on there. I don't know if you can see it, but
yep.
Then we'll take a little bit of blood. The blood is called hemoglobin. It's a liquid blood that dries with a wet look to it.
Oh, nice. Now I have to ask: do you have that in a format that is safety to use in the? Because I get that question a lot. That's safe to use in the mouth or even around the eyes.
Yeah, I don't have a blood that's safe in the mouth. Not a lot of the market is there for edible blood. Most of it is just topical.
Okay.
So if somebody wants to, I have ingredients to make your own blood. I mean, I sell the blood bases. I have blood food coloring. We sell this by the quart, the 32 ounce, the gallon, however you need it, but we've got food color in bulk.
Nice.
So if you want to make a blood to use in the mouth, we've got the glycerins, the corn syrups, all of that material to make your own. And that way you can use it in the mouth and you don't have to worry about, what's in this, you know.
Right.
But most bloods that I make, one of the problems with blood, the common film bloods, is that they beat up on the skin.
Yeah.
And that's not really how blood behaves when you're actually bleeding. It kind of runs and smears and stuff like that. Let's see here. There we go.
So you put a little bit of that hemoglobin on, and then was that the alcohol you spritzed it with again?
Yep, I just took some alcohol over top of it, just to let the hemoglobin run. And when it's dry, it'll be totally waterproof.
And that stays just as good as the watermelon does, and it doesn't bleed off, so you can touch it. It's not going to transfer onto your hands or your clothes once it's dried, which is nice. Because, I...
Blah, blah. I do not say blah, blah.
It looks so good. I love the product, and there's quite a few people chiming in about how much they enjoyed it, and they've shared it with some of their effects friends, and I think it's one of those things where word of mouth is huge, and seeing it is definitely different than hearing a description of it or what it is or how it works. It's that moment of clarity that you see in someone's eyes when they realize, I can do this. I can do this in less than a minute. If I'm working a haunt and I'm trying to get my actors out, I don't have to just rely on silicone masks. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's nice to have
how
appliances.
long did that take to do? How long did that take? We were here. You saw me do it. What, 2 minutes, 3 minutes?
If that, maybe.
Yeah. So
it's very quick, which...
One of my goals, one of my lifetime goals is to bring movie makeup down to the novice. Make it so that anybody can do these convincing kind of movie quality makeups for themselves.
Yeah.
And that's another problem that I've been solving. And hopefully I'll be around for a while to keep solving them.
I'm going to add that title to your name, Michael Davy, Problem Solver.
Problem solver.
Make a problem solver. I love that one. Now, you do a lot, the majority of your orders you do through your website, which is water-melon.net, correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep.
So if folks are looking for some stuff or they want to pick up some, let's say that they're looking to buy for Halloween, how early would I need to put my order in?
January, as early as possible. It depends what you need. I mean,
Okay.
I have an Etsy store and I have a retail store, water-melon.net. I also have distributors all over the world, Hollywood, New York, everywhere. And a lot of my products are available through Reynolds, Advanced Materials, and they'll the mostly on the website, it's geared towards retail. It's geared towards one or two items. If somebody needs a large order, let's say you have a haunted house, and you need to place a big order like that, it's easiest just to call me up or send me an email or something like that. And I have a price list that you can download on the website that has not all the products are on the website, all the available products.
I'm going to bring that website up just to show folks while we're talking.
There we go. And what you do is you'll go to water-melon.net, and at the top of that page is a download section. So you click on the downloads and you'll see my watermelon price list, and you'll see my cosmetic product price list. And depending on what you need, you just go through there, and that gives you all the current pricing and all of that.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you for that information. I appreciate that. Now, on top of creating your own line of prosthetics and, I mean, let's face it, everything that I can think of makeup-wise, airbrush makeup, Rigiclodian, like all the things. You also worked in film. Bald caps, all of the bald caps.
These are probably one of the things that I'm known most for in Hollywood is my bald caps. That's we do latex and we do plastic bald caps.
Okay. Plastic, huh?
Yeah, I did film work. When when I first came to Florida back in the 80s, I met this character named Rick Gonzalez.
We know Mr. Rick.
And he's gone on to become one of my best friends, and me and him hang out. He just came to my birthday party here a few weeks ago, and
oh, nice.
I love him to death, man. He's a good guy. But when I came to Florida, this is where he grew up. This is where he's from. So he was making films with Tom Savini down in Miami, Dawn of the Dead, all this kind of stuff. He's busy working here. So I got together with him. We did some work and ended up doing the Universal together. We put together a crew, and between the two of us, we were able to get Universal on the road that it's on now, 20 years later with Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah, and that was originally Fright Nights back in the day. That wasn't even Halloween Horror Nights then. It originally started as Fright Nights. Right.
It was called Fright Nights. It was the way that they explained it to me was it was a staff Halloween party, but they invited the public to it. It was a party for the staff. The staff were getting in there, having their own little party, but the public to join them in their party. What happened was when they first opened, um, I had this idea of doing makeups off a push cart.
Okay.
And pushing a push cart through Universal and just do a cut or a scar just like this one here.
Yeah.
Just do on them, and that would I'd make a few bucks doing that. So I went in. I talked to their guy named Tim Cipielli. He was the head of entertainment special events.
Okay.
And I went in and sat down, showed him my portfolio, gave him my idea, and he listened to me very intently. And he says, Mike, you know, that's very interesting. I recognize your talent. Now here's what we want. And he began to lay out what has become Halloween Horror Nights. And he said, we would like you to handle the makeup for the part. After picking my jaw up off the floor,
that's a big ask.
That was a very big one, but you know, if you can imagine having this thrown onto you, they had no makeup department, they had nothing. Right. So me and Rick were going to have to provide everything. The appliances, the cosmetics, the wigs, the people. We supplied them with people.
Oh, wow.
We had actors and stuff that we provided them. And we were doing makeups for them that were quite challenging. We had to do VIP events. We had to do press events. We would get called to go and work with Pat Williams, the Magic's the coach at the time, and the mayor of Orlando, Bill Frederick, and we had to make them up in disguise, and then they'd have a contest where people would guess who's under the makeup.
Oh, wow.
Halloween Horror Nights thing. So it was exciting. It was exciting times for because Orlando had never seen anything like this.
Yeah.
Had to do a test makeup for Universal so that we could show them, you know, what we're capable of.
Yeah.
And the test makeups were personally approved by Jay Stein, the head of NCA. It was the parent company of Universal at the time. And we finished the makeups. They were really bloody, gory, open gash wounds that were tied open with string and stuff, and it was really disturbing.
Nice.
And he comes in, and we were kind of worried about, man, is he cool with this?
Right.
And he looks it over. He turns to his friend there walking with him. He goes, well, gore sells. Then he leaves. That was it. It was fun. But it was a lot of fun. Universal was really fun for me and Rick. We had a blast.
I'll have to have you guys on sometime and let you guys share some stories and just kind of let us kick back and listen to them, because I'm sure you guys have had some good times.
Well, we got stories we can't tell you about on camera, so, you know.
Those are the best stories, though.
Right.
Those ones are always the best ones. And I've heard a couple. And, yeah, they will not be repeated to the public, but... those are some good ones. Now, you've also worked with Rick on another project. It was a local film done here called Bubba the Redneck Werewolf. My husband actually worked on that one with you guys as well. And Bubba was created. Like, he wasn't... How do I want to say this? You guys had to sit and create that look. So what were some of the challenges that you faced in creating that makeup? Because it wasn't just, you know, an easy peasy thing to do, I'm sure, or apply.
Mitch, one of my best friends, Mitch Hyman, he is the creator of Bubba. He is the one that envisioned Bubba and created the comic book, created the character, creates the stories. That's his baby. And when one of his lifetime goals was to make Bubba into a real life movie. and I agreed to help him achieve that goal. But being in Orlando, our budgets are really tight.
Yeah.
We couldn't afford the fancy CGI, although we did have some CGI in Bubba, but we knew that it was going to have to be the actor that would pull this off. We didn't have any money to create mechanical masks or any of the articulated things that they do in American Werewolf in London to stretch the skin and the face and all that.
Yeah.
One of our challenges was that if you go on the internet and you Google werewolf, all you see are these nasty, snarling, teethy, with blood and all that.
Yeah.
Things. Well, that's Bubba, but it's not Bubba. Bubba the Redneck Werewolf was a comedy. So Bubba had to smile and Bubba had to talk. So those were the big challenges. So on one hand, we wanted to preserve the traditional look of Bubba, but on the other hand, we had to be practical and the actor had to talk and smiling. You never see werewolves smiling.
No, you only see them snarling or growling,
right.
And they're usually just long-snouted. They're not really capable of that kind of speech or emotion.
Exactly. And you can't articulate speech with that unless you're going to CGI it.
Right.
We just didn't have a budget to articulate every line in CGI through Bubba. So we kind of did the Lon Chaney werewolf compromise here. We gave it a shorter snout, and but it still had to be a convincing werewolf and recognizable as Bubba.
Yeah.
So that's the constraints that we worked under, and we used this new material called silicone. And we used a silicone face piece for him. It was attached to his skin, so when he spoke, it moved too. So it was we got a girl. Rick had introduced me to Karina Martinez.
Oh, we know Karina. She's amazing.
Yep, and we got her to do all the on-set work, all the applications. I was having some medical issues, so there was no way. Plus, with my business, I could be on the set every day.
Yeah.
We got her. We trained her with the silicone and the appliances and the look and how to get it all done every day on Bubba. And man, she was a trooper. She just came right through for us. She was right there, and when a problem would pop up on the set, she solved it. Man, she was doing really good. So kudos to her for that. For me, my role on the movie was technically I was an associate producer.
Okay.
I created the Bubba look for that, and I designed the makeup, made the appliances, but it was my role was as more of a producer than a makeup artist. So that's pretty much what my IDB credit reads for that one.
And that was filmed in DeLand, wasn't it? DeLand, Florida?
Yep, we filmed it all around DeLand, all kinds of different places in DeLand. Yeah, it got a reputation. Actually, right down the street from me here is an Eagles club, and that's where we filmed all the bar scenes in DeBary, where it was at the Eagles in DeBary.
Really?
Yeah, so that was quite interesting. We used some of the Eagles regulars as background people.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Did they kind of have a grasp on what was going on, I wonder, or if they were just like, whatever, let me just have my beer, leave me alone.
They went with the flow. They just had fun with it.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, it was wild.
I know, like, they did a premiere out there at one of the theaters. JD and I attended that. That was a lot of fun, just to kind of see.
The Athens, right?
Yes. nice to see the audience reaction, and then of course the reaction of everyone that was involved in the film. And it's always fun when, if you ever watched Bubba the Redneck Werewolf, and you haven't, definitely watch it, because it is a fun romp. But if you go to DeLand, you can pinpoint where certain things were filmed, and some of the things are very, very easy to make out. Others, not so much, but some spots are definitely very recognizable.
Yeah, we were all through downtown, all back in the Stetson University campus, back in that area. So we had a lot of fun, and we got a reputation in DeLand too. Oh, you're with that werewolf movie.
I bet JD just mentioned that when you guys were in the Eagles filming, how you had to plastic the whole floor down and everything, because I'm sure they didn't want a blood stain in the floor there, because that'd be a little curious. That might raise some questions. I'm an
Eagles member now, so I get to tell them stories about it.
Oh, really?
Right.
That's so awesome. I love that. See, that's got to be fun. Well, thank you for telling us a little bit about your role in Bubba. And again, if you guys haven't watched Bubba the Redneck Werewolf, it's available on most streaming platforms. I know it's on Amazon. I think it was on Hulu at one point. The song's gonna get stuck in your head. I'm not sorry. That opening theme song is something that haunts me to this day. Anytime somebody starts it, it lives there rent free. So whoever composed that, I want to say thank you.
It's wonderful.
Now, we had the pleasure of joining you and your lovely daughter at Transworld this past February, we had so much fun. It was such an amazing show. Do you have any other upcoming events that you're going to be vending at?
We're looking at doing Transworld again next year.
Okay.
We'd love to have you guys there again.
Nice.
As far as events, not really. I'm getting up there in years, and I'm starting to think about winding things down.
Okay.
So there may be some changes coming up within the next year or so. I don't quite know, but
okay.
When you get older, you get certain challenges.
Yeah.
And my challenges are starting to pile up. So we're going to see what happens in these next couple of years. But I'm foreseeing a lot of changes happening with what I'm doing. So.
Okay.
Soon.
Fair enough. Now, are you doing, because I know Transworld has 2 shows this year or next year coming. They've got the one that's in March, and then they have one that's a little bit later that's going to be in Pennsylvania. Are you going to do both shows, or are you going to stick with the more established?
Well, they've got 3 shows.
That's right. I forgot Midwest Haunters.
They've got the Midwest Haunt Con, which I used to go to. It used to be up in Columbus, Ohio.
Yes.
And my daughter lives in Columbus, so me and her would do that show together, and it was a lot of fun.
Oh, nice.
When they moved it out of Columbus over to Chicago, that's just out of my reach. I can't load the van up and take everything up there. That's a little too far for me.
That's a haul.
Yeah. So I used to do Transworld back in the old days when it was a different show. It was a a mom and pop costume shop show where costume shops would go there and place their orders. This is before the internet.
Yeah.
Now, most of these shops place their orders over the internet. They don't need to go to trade shows and stuff.
Right.
So those kind of shows are kind of falling by the wayside. But haunters, that's a different thing. When you have a haunt, you kind of want to see things and hold them in your hands and get the actual scare and experience it rather than just looking at it over the internet.
Yeah.
You're buying a line of products, a line of whatever. You're trying to create this scary environment, and Transworld brings all those elements together. It brings the scenery, the props, the makeup, the costume. It brings all those things together in one place. Yes. So the Transworld show is very useful, but it's a trade show. The one in St. Louis is a proper trade show.
Oh, absolutely.
Haunters Convention and the East Coast Haunters Convention they're conventions. They're not trade shows. There's a difference there.
Yeah.
You get a different person at them. You get
like the suits at the trade show.
The fanboys, the tchotchke buyers, those kind of things. You get people who are enthusiasts for it, rather than the actual haunters that have the big haunted houses and theme parks and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They don't go to the conventions to buy all their products. They'll go there to find something for their front yard.
Right.
So that's pretty much what the conventions are for. So I kind of have to target my events as far as what I'm doing to be market savvy, and because I'm just one guy.
And I mean, honestly, it makes more sense for you because, to your point, your average enthusiast or the fans aren't necessarily going looking to purchase makeup. They want to purchase something small, or they just want to kind of go to hang out with their friends and have the experience. Whereas in the trade show in St. Louis is a very different beast. That show it's a sellers and buyers market. Like, if you're there as a vendor, you are there to sell, and 90% of the people that go are there to spend their money. They are looking to purchase their stuff for their haunt seasons that are coming up, whether it's makeup or even scenic. I've seen scenic stuff sell there, and props and all kinds of things. So it's definitely a very different beast. So I think, to your point, for you, definitely a trade show does make a lot more sense.
Yeah, that's where I have to go with my products. I have a whole big line of products, and for me to go to Transworld, I have to really make a little bit of everything for the show. So it's a big job for me to get everything going and to get everything up there and set up and all that. So like I said, I'm looking at some changes coming up, and I don't what changes are going to happen, but stay tuned. That's all I can say. Hold on.
I'm always holding on.
Right.
Now, just to remind folks, if you guys do want to purchase some of Michael's products online, here's that website again. It is water-melon.net. Very easy to remember. You can get pretty much everything and anything via the website, from blood to airbrush makeup, to watermelon appliances, to the activators, the watermelon, the liquid form itself. You can run your own molds, all the good things. I've got a couple of questions jumping in from the chat. I've got one of the guys is asking, they need to work on a vampire movie in Ybor in the Tampa area, and they wanted to know if you would be interested.
I pretty much retired from the on-set stuff.
You're in like the delegating phase now. Like, I have minions for that.
Yeah, there's other people out there that need the work, so it's time for them to step up and do that. That's one thing I had to think about at Universal was when they had me and Rick doing all their makeup and stuff. They had no reason to want to develop a makeup department, a proper building suited just for doing the makeup stuff. They had no reason for that because they had us doing that.
Yeah.
So it came really apparent that for things to grow, I'd have to step aside and move on and focus on the products and focus on my freelance and do other things. Yeah. I went on and was President Clinton's makeup artist. Worked on a lot of union stuff at the Disney studios and commercials, and worked with Robert Englund and all these people. So it gave me a chance to broaden my horizon, but in order for the industry to grow, I had to step aside and kind of force Universal to step up and develop their own department.
Yeah, which I think is a good thing, because now it's a machine at this point today.
Right.
And you guys have paved the way for that. And as a fan of the event itself, thank you for everything that you guys did with Universal and for the event itself, because had you not talked with them and worked something out, who knows, the event may not have happened for a few more years, or it may not have happened at all. You never know. Life is crazy like that.
Well, we weren't sure at the time. That was one of our concerns was, listen, this is the Bible Belt. How is kind of gore sells, but how is this going to be received by the public?
Yeah.
And we were surprised that in this Disney town, Universal was able to get a foothold with this Halloween event. Mm-hmm. And they've ran with it now for 20 plus years. And I like thinking that me and Rick had a little thing to do with that.
Oh, so, absolutely. Yeah. You guys had just a smidge to do with it. Now, I've got a couple of more questions for you. I know your time is precious. And these are a couple questions I like to ask all of my guests that I have on my show, because I feel like it lets everybody kind of get to know you a little bit better. So the first thing that I have to ask is, do you have a favorite horror movie or a top 3 horror films that you really enjoy?
A horror movie. I mean, what's horror? I mean, gore and splatter and all that. That's like, it's not necessarily scary,
right?
And to me, horror is scary. It's scary. So it's not really any splatter movies, even though I've got all these gory appliances that I make.
Right.
I'd say movies that scared me a lot were, I don't know if you've ever seen it, but Legend of Boggy Creek. You
know what? I have not.
Yeah.
I'm kind of ashamed to admit it. I have not seen it.
It's about this creature, and it's supposed to be based on a true story, so that adds to the scare factor of it.
Okay.
And when I saw it growing up, it was kind of a quasi-documentary, but it was like this Bigfoot swamp Sasquatch creature that would terrorize this Boggy Creek area.
I love a creature film.
You never saw the creature in the movie, but man, just him pounding on the doors and windows just scared the bejeebers out of me when I was younger, and that, I'd say, was a scary movie. Another one is Frankenstein. I like Frankenstein.
Yeah.
That to me is, the story is scary.
It's great.
And I also like Mr. Sardonicus.
I've not heard of that one. I'll have to check it out. I'll have to look into that one.
Yeah, the scariest part of that was like the last scene of the movie where they open the coffin and he's got this big grin on his face, and it was nasty. It was scary. But I was a kid. So that had a lot to do with it.
Okay. Thanks.
A lot of up in Ohio where I grew up, we had these creature feature guys, hosts, Houlihan and Big Chuck.
Okay.
I used to spend my Friday nights, late night, 11 o'clock, watching them in their horror movies, and they would do skits, in between the excerpts and stuff, and that was a lot of fun. But yeah, I'd say The Exorcist is scary to me.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's stuff that gets into your head.
Right. It's not necessarily the visual, but it's the psychological that adds to things, because nothing is scarier than what you can make up or what you can envision in your own mind, right. I think. That's
right. And it's and fear is a head thing too. I mean,
absolutely.
It's something you create. It's something that you're responsible for. So it's different from everybody else. But anyway, those are scary movies.
Those are good choices. I like those choices. Those are some good ones. Now this one is I've got a question, but there's also a sub question added onto this, and there's a little bit of controversy to this one. But I have to know, do you have a favorite Halloween candy?
A favorite Halloween candy?
Yes.
$100,000 bars. They call them 100 grands now.
I love those.
Yeah.
Those are so good. Oh,
Yeah.
those are delicious. All right, so now my
In the fridge.
yes, when they're nice and cold. Those are the
Yeah.
best. Now my sub question is this: is how do you feel about candy corn?
I hate it. I'll throw up if I eat candy corn. I can't stand it.
I feel like I had this talk the other day. I ask everybody this question, and people are either very pro or they're very much anti. My household is divided. I love it.
Yeah.
JD hates it.
Right.
He says it's earwax.
Yeah.
He wants to ban it. He hates
That's
it.
being kind.
It is being kind. And as much as the man hates it, he will buy it for me on occasion, so I can't give him too much guff, but he hates it. It is not for him.
Good for him.
So you guys are definitely on the same team with the dislike for candy corn.
Well, I always knew JD had good taste.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining me this evening and for giving us some knowledge about your products and some background about yourself and how you got started in the industry. Just thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Oh, hey, we're going to have to do this again. For sure.
Okay.
And just to plug your website again, guys, that is water-melon.net for all of your prosthetic appliance makeup needs. Check them out. Get your orders in. The sooner the better, especially if you're looking for something for Halloween. We do have a couple more things to chat about really quickly. Next week, we have Amanda and Brad. They are the authors of Sir Henry's Haunted Tales. They will be on the show. They've written some books based on local haunted attraction, Sir Henry's Haunted Trails. So they'll be on next week. Wednesday, 8 p.m., same bat time, same bat channel. And this weekend, we have the Orlando Oddities and Curiosities Market. That's going to be happening at the Central Florida Fairgrounds. It will be inside. The event is going to run you $10 to get in, $5 for parking. JD and myself will be out there selling coffee. So come by, see us, say hello, grab a bag of coffee, and just have a good time. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Until next time, boys and girls, make sure you keep it spooky. Bye.